Well, good morning, guys. It's Pastor Andy. Today's July the 2nd, and we're looking at Psalm 114. Psalm 114 goes along with Psalm 113 that we read yesterday. These two psalms were sang together before the Israelites would eat the feast of the Passover, remembering God's deliverance out of Egypt. So as we go through this chapter, keep that in mind. This is a remembrance of the wilderness journeys and what God did for them. Psalm 114:1. When the Israelites escaped from Egypt, when the family of Jacob left that foreign land. Boy, that's kind of like their national birthday. They're getting out of, they're able to serve God. They're able to go now. They're able to worship Him. There's freedom here. Verse 2. The land of Judah became God's sanctuary, and Israel became His kingdom. God separated the nation of Israel from Egypt, but not just from Egypt, but He separated them to Himself. So He separated to them, and they had this relationship. Then He goes through the rest of this chapter talking about the miracles that happened while they were in this wilderness journey. Think about these miracles that they saw. The Red Sea saw them coming and hurled out of its way. The waters of the Jordan River turned away. I mean, can you imagine being there and seeing this happen? You're coming out of all of this, all these many years of being a slave. You finally got your freedom. You're marching through the desert, following the leader that you feel like God has put in front of you, that God has placed there, following Him. And you come up to this sea, this ocean, and you look back and here comes Pharaoh and his armies. Can you imagine how you've gone from a low of being a slave to a high of freedom, and now you're back to a low of, oh crap, here we go. We're about to die. Pharaoh's about to kill us, or we're going to drown in the ocean. I mean, this is not a good place. The emotional roller coaster that these people were on, now they're standing in front of this river, and then to look up and to see Moses, God's man, lift up his rod and the waters part. Can you imagine seeing this? I mean, sure, we've all watched Charlton Heston lift the rod and Israel walk through on dry land, but can you imagine actually being there? Here this ocean separates, and not only is it separating, but you've got these walls of water on either side, and now you've got to walk through the middle of it, and it's on dry ground. I mean, it's not even muddy at the bottom of here. And can you imagine that first step down on this trail? I mean, come on. I feel like I'm a person of faith, but I'd be freaking out. I'd be shaking in my boots. I've got to walk all the way through here, and it's not like you could just see the other side. It's not like some little pond or Wyandotte Lake or something little like that. We're talking about the Red Sea. This is an ocean. This is huge. This is a great big body of water. You couldn't see the other side, and you're just going to march out in the middle of it by faith? Can you imagine? But God did that for them. And then He did it 40 years later, getting ready to cross the Jordan River. I mean, they walk up to the river, and as soon as the priests who were carrying the Ark of the Covenant on their shoulders take the first step in, boom, the water parts again. Can you imagine seeing that? Can you imagine experiencing that? And then the nation of Israel forgets about it, and they complain and they gripe and they whine through this 40 years of wandering in the wilderness after they've seen God part the Red Sea. Man, I would love to have seen it, but I'd have been scared to death walking through it. But He's reminding them of what they went through. He goes down through here. What's wrong, Red Sea, verse 5? That made you hurry out of the way? What happened, Jordan River, that you turned away? Like, yeah, what happened to you? It was God. He's the one who moved us. Tremble, verse 7, O earth, at the presence of the Lord, at the presence of the God of Jacob. He turned the rock into a pool of water. Yes, a spring of water flowed from solid rock. I mean, as they're wandering through the wilderness, they have no food. God provides manna for them every day. They complain about the manna and want meat, so God gives them quail. They complain because there's no water, and God provides water out of a rock in the middle of the wilderness. I mean, these people saw some amazing things. And before they would eat the feast of the Passover, they would remember the blessings and the leading of God in their life. And before we sit down to a meal, we ought to remember the blessings and the leadings of God in our life. While we may not have seen the Red Sea part, we've seen God do miracles in our life. If you have a relationship with Him, you saw the miracle of a life change. You've seen God do amazing things. The thing is, we just have to remember it. Let's take some time today and let's remember what God has done for us, the miracles that He's performed in our lives, and let's not forget about Him. Let's keep Him first. I hope you'll get into this psalm and read it for yourself today. And until tomorrow, God bless you and have a great day.